Chapter 1 Prologue. This is a fascinating tale of how marbles came into existence 28 years ago in 1997. Now I'll do my best to keep it family friendly, but truthfully, under extreme duress, my words flowed with a certain rawness that was no less than vulgar. Let me tell you, I'm convinced this was a sign. Call it divine intervention, fate, the universe, whatever you choose to call it. It all started when a few of my buddies from Yokota Air Force Base in Japan, Mike, a black guy, Aaron, and a twin duo, Freddie, two white brothers, decided to swing by for a little reunion in Wichita, Kansas. At the door, Freddie decides it's time to unleash Category 4. What up, what up? What up, what up? What up? As if it's his duty to wake up the entire neighborhood from a deep slumber. Shortly after our meet and greet, it was just a casual night out, and we were all looking fresh to death, dressed to impress, full of confidence. Aaron and Freddie were practically dripping in gold nuggets, looking like they just stepped straight out of a treasure chest, even sporting gold nugget laces, just nugget it out. We looked like a diverse homage to Eric B. and Rakim, if you know what I mean. Once we got a little tipsy, we decided to hit the club up. When we got there, we stepped out of the car feeling all good and approached the entrance. We see people in line. I can reach out and touch the bouncer. That's how close we were. Just across from us was the parking lot. Within arm's reach, you could reach out and grab it. I spotted a small figure, no more than 4'9", laid back, chilling on a car hood, while drinking a 40-ounce of Old English, listening to some rap music as if he was DJing for the entire parking lot while checking out the honeys heading into the club. No harm done, he was just being a player. So I casually greeted him, saying, "What up, dawg?" I just had a habit of calling everybody dog back in the day. But he didn't like that one bit and hopped off the car. Now keep in mind, he's only 4'9". So he trudged toward us with a swagger, as if he was 6 feet tall and all muscle. I glanced at my friends, giving them a reassuring nod, confident I could handle this little guy with ease. But as I turned to face him, he returned my nod. And then it all went sideways. Out of nowhere, gang members emerged from the shadows, like something straight out of an action movie. They descended from rooftops, cleared from under parked cars, and swung in like acrobats with guns hanging out of their sweatpants. This stuff was worse than the OK Corral. It was chaos beyond belief. To our dismay, the bouncers and other clubgoers bolted inside, abandoning us to face the storm. The gang members strategized their positions, blocking any chance of us to escape. The little guy, who I affectionately refer to as Little Man, because he was practically below a dwarf size. He might have literally been a baby at the club. Who knows? Baby or not, this little dude started rummaging through my pockets. All I can do was swallow all of my pride and pray we wouldn't meet a grim fate. Thankfully, as he searched, he somehow missed my wallet. I was thinking to myself, it should be in my back pocket. But if I lost it, I'm stuck outside the club. Just what I needed. With him craning his neck up to reach my chest, it was quite a sight. A sudden ruckus broke out behind me. I turned around to see Aaron and Freddie, my two brave white friends, engaging in a valiant scuffle with gang members. I was like, "Crap!" in slow motion, and couldn't help but think, oh no, this isn't good. You see, these gang members, a name I wish not to mention, had a reputation. They were notorious for not engaging in fights, but rather just shooting their opponents right on the spot. A shot to the head, that was it. So I knew the repercussions right away. Although I respected my friend's bravery, but I certainly didn't want to become the main character in the Mel Gibson film Braveheart. We all knew that movie didn't end well.
Just say.
So, by the grace of God, sirens wailed in the distance, sending the game members scattering, leaving behind only a few precious gold nugget chains and rings. Miraculously, we emerged unscathed, somehow intact. And there, on the ground, was my wallet, completely intact as well. I was amazed that it had managed to slip out of my pocket unnoticed. Amidst the bedlam, I felt compelled to impart some wisdom to my friends. A life lesson speech, if you will. I turned to Aaron and Freddie and said, "Yo, the next time a mob of gang members approach you and a massive amount of guns are visible at their disposal, kindly give up your stuff and drop your pride. If you leave naked, be happy you get to live another day. But don't you ever put my life in jeopardy because you're trying to prove you're a tough white boy in the hood and care more about gold nugget chains than a life." After that, we indulged in more drinks, got drunk, and cracked up laughing the rest of the night. Looking back, I realize now just what a hidden blessing that night turned out to be, as you're about to discover. Over time, I managed to shelve that traumatic event behind me. It became just an afterthought. Now, the moment had arrived. It was time for me to execute my plan. So, I logged into AOL. You know, that iconic dial-up service from the 90s? Famed for, "You got mail," alert. I ordered a Los Angeles white and yellow pages phone book. If you didn't have that book, you were pretty much stuck like Chuck. It was your only outlet to all the businesses at the time. Oh, if you were not in California, that was a no-go on trying to access any kind of information if you didn't have them yellow pages. Google wasn't an option back then. There wasn't any chat bots with sexy voices to assist you. After about a week, the thick brick-like tome landed in my hands. I took a dive right into the acting school listings, and one in particular drew my attention: the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. At that time, they were in Pasadena before they set up shop in Hollywood permanently. Now, I didn't know anything about the school, but their ad was the largest in the book. So I was like, "Hey, let me give them a call." So I called, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to be an actor and apply for your school." You know, thinking I could just go in there, pay a fee, and be in there for the beginning of the school year. Nope, didn't happen like that. They were like, "First off, you need to audition to even be considered for our school. Once you pass that, we'll go over the financial part of the process with you." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm good with interviews. It can't be that hard." But then he added, "Oh yeah, and after the interview, you need to have 2 monologues prepared. A drama and a comedy." I paused for a moment. Then I was like, "Hold up. First off, what the heck is a monologue?" After a thorough explanation, I felt like I can handle it. It didn't sound too complicated. Next, we arranged a meeting date in Kansas City, and off I went to source my monologues. What better place to start than a local library? I navigated straight to the plays section and quickly found a drama monologue that caught my interest. Easy peasy. I can't recall its title, but it featured a photographer in the 60s. Now, I just need a comedy monologue, which I assumed would be a piece of cake. That's a negative. I struggled to find a single play with a long enough piece that met the requirements, ransacking every library in Wichita and the surrounding counties. So I called the Academy again, and they suggested if you can't find a comedy monologue, you can write your own. Just make sure it fits the time frame, has a storyline with an objective. And oh yeah, make it funny. Now, why would he convey that? It felt a little condescending, maybe a lot. Like he was silently laughing at me, convinced I wouldn't make the cut. As soon as I hung up, my previous confidence I had before the call quickly evaporated. I've never felt that intimidated. Fortunately, I had 3 weeks to regain my composure and build my confidence back up. With that, I decided to focus on my drama monologue first and mastered it in under a week. Then, my mind went completely blank for the next week and a half. With just 4 days left, I needed to craft a funny story and write it, something I never done, apart from jotting down a few rap songs, which was pretty straightforward. Just throw some raps together with a beatbox, and voila, you got yourself a song. Whether it's good or bad, it's still a song. This, however, was a whole different ballgame. On top of that, I needed to develop a character, memorize the piece, and oh yeah, make sure it's funny. Before I turned in for the night, I surrendered all my worries. I prayed, saying, God, I know I've made mistakes, some bad, but the mistakes I made, I swear no one was ever in harm's way. I apologize, but God, I really need some help right now. Please, give me a sign, idea, something. If it's not meant to be, just let me know. No hard feelings. Get these thoughts out of my head. Let me go on to be that blue-collar foreman at Coke, the job I was offered. If that's what I'm destined to do, I'll be happy with that. Amen. Trust me when I say this. After that moment, a profound sense of calm washed over me, and all of my anxiety just vanished. Poof, gone. So, I climbed into bed, finally experiencing a little bit of sleep for the first time in 3 weeks, with just 3 days left to go. When I woke up the next morning, I found myself with an entire comedy monologue playing in my mind, just waiting to be written down. The story, the dialogue, the characters, they were all there. You know those bizarre dreams that fade from memory the moment you wake up, and all of a sudden your mind develops a bad case of amnesia, and it just goes blank? That's how my dream was, except I didn't forget it. In hindsight, I guess I could thank God for that, but I was thinking, how the heck did I let this dream get by? These are dreams you're not supposed to remember. It was about gang members playing marbles, except they weren't called gang members. They were marble bangers. They had the same characteristics as gang members, just without the violence. I guess getting jacked by those gang members played a huge part in my dream manifesting. So I put this crazy dream down on paper, right? I mean, I had no choice. It was my last hope to get to Hollywood. The funny thing is, the more I went over it, the more I started believing in it. After just 2 days, I was ready for a test run. I performed it for my family, friends, and co-workers, and to my surprise, they loved it. The absurdity of gang members playing marbles had them laughing even before I started the monologue. Now, I'm ready to present it to the professionals, the big dogs. I'm about to try to get into a prestigious acting school with a homemade monologue from a dream that shouldn't have been remembered. The day had finally arrived. My fate will be set. I'll either be heading to Hollywood or become a blue-collar juggernaut and retire in Wichita wearing steel-toed boots and dickies. First, I selected my wardrobe out very strategically. I put on a nice tight-fitting shirt. Since he is from California, he might be gay, which means that if he doesn't like my monologue, he might like me and can't wait to see me again. Who knows? Not too long after, I arrived at a luxurious 5-star hotel, hopped into the elevator, and headed straight up to the conference room. As I stepped out of the elevator, I immediately got that vibe from the Shining movie. You know, the one with Jack Nicholson in it. The hallway was long and eerie, but gave me enough time to mentally rehearse my monologues. Just as I reached the door, A woman exited. She looked utterly defeated. Not a hint of a smile. But she wished me luck and kept it moving. Walking into the room felt strange right off the bat. It was enormous. And there was a dude all by himself in the distance. It was just the two of us. It took me about 30 steps to get to him, give or take. So we introduced ourselves right away. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I was intimidated yet again. He was a short, well-dressed white guy who looked like he walked straight out of a Broadway show, sitting there with an air of someone who critiques Shakespearean plays, legs crossed as if bracing himself for yet another disappointing performance. But he hid it well. I could sense his calm facade. It's a gift of mine to read people like an open book. And that smile, plastered across his face, was anything but genuine. So, I asked him, to break the ice a little. What's the percentage of people getting accepted to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts? He replied bluntly, it's rare. To be honest, the odds are low. Our acceptance rate is very limited. You might not get in, but we'll have to see. That made me think. I was sitting here with the guy who critiques Shakespearean plays, and I'm about to present a homemade monologue from someone who's not even a writer. But hey, if this guy flew all the way out here from California to hear me out, if I bust, I'm going to make sure it's the greatest bust in history. Either way, he'll be going back to California with a story to tell. Then the moment arrived. He asked if I had my monologues ready, titles and authors included. You see, right there. He assumed my pieces were from famous plays. Point deduction. I'm already starting out behind the 8 ball. So I asked him in a voice that just didn't seem confident at all. What if I wrote my comedy monologue? I couldn't find one? Is that okay? He paused. What do you mean, you couldn't find one? No, he didn't say that thought, but I can tell he was thinking it. Eventually, he responded, sure, as long as it's within the criteria. I don't see why not. Of course that means it better be funny. He continues, let's begin. What do you want to start with first? I responded, let's go with the drama. That way, he can say I performed something from a famous play. I was cocksure I could nail that. So, I performed it. And if you ask me, I thought I did a pretty darn good job. But when I finished, all he said was, okay, what do you have next? All calm with the blank look on his face. Expletive. You can fill those in with any type of profanity you wish to choose. Unless you're a kid, you're not allowed to use profanity. That said, great, I'm done. Now, it boils down to my homemade monologue, Marbles, about gang members playing marbles. Now, I'm pretty sure, as a matter of factly sure, it's way too ghetto for his taste. But I went for it anyway. As I performed, I was on high alert for any kind of feedback. Instead, I was met with a deafening silence. No crickets, no murmurs at all through the entire act. When I finally wrapped up, a long, agonizing pause hung in the air. He gave me a split second to contemplate. Should I strangle this little dude with his tie? Or make a quick exit without even shaking his hand, pull a ghost maneuver? Then he abruptly broke the silence with, who wrote that play? Almost as if he didn't hear me mention it earlier. Then again, that question could have been rhetorical, but it wasn't. So I said in a hesitant voice, almost as a question, I wrote it. Just as I'm about to blame myself for that dismal performance, that was the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. In a 4-minute monologue, in 20 years, I've been doing this. I've never encountered anything like that. I didn't want you to stop. The transitions, the characters. You really wrote that? Right then, my voice went up an octave with newfound confidence as I replied, "Yeah." I struggled to maintain my composure as if I've been writing for years. Not to take anything from psychics, but right then, I knew I was destined to leave Kansas behind. Just 2 months later, my acceptance letter came, handed in my 2 weeks notice at Coke, and set my sights on the Sunshine State, bringing Marbos with me.